which we'll talk about Kingdom a little later, but we've got some kind of big wet K-pop meets Western celebrity connections to that this past week. We got Ryan Reynolds talking to Stray Kids about their performance referencing Deadpool on Kingdom from the previous week. And then we got announced that Emma Stone, in order to be promoting Cruella on Disney Plus, will be on the Jessi Showterview. So what we kind of were interested in talking about today was when these K-pop idols and American celebrities start connecting and start talking over social media, is it the fans facilitating that, or Ryan Reynolds kind of stumbling upon this Kingdom thing by himself? Or do we think maybe it's a little bit more constructed and it's the agency kind of behind connections and them kind of feeding off of each other? So what are your thoughts?
It's crazy because I think it's like that argument where it's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's probably a little bit of both. I think that maybe there's real interest from artists, because I know Emma Stone is actually a fan of K-pop. I think she's a fan of BTS. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'll talk about that. And I'm sure her agent is like, oh, this is a good move for you. I approve. It's kind of like, I think in some ways people are like, that it's wrong, but I'm like, it's kind of exactly what they do over here. They're just doing it to K-pop now. But no celebrity over here really does things in just like, not in the interest of like money. For the most part, there's always an interest of like money and monopolizing, on clout, maybe from something that we're talking about. So they do it all the time in America. So I'm just like, I think it's seen in a different light because it's in a different country. But I think it's like similar to how they act here. So probably both, I guess.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely not like a wrong or right issue, because I just think that's how cross-promotion works. But it's definitely interesting to see now that America didn't used to like pay attention to K-pop as something that was, like they've been like sort of, like letting Blackpink and BTS kind of on TV a little bit. But I feel like this year and after the quarantine, well, we're still in it, but you know what I mean? Like, as COVID kind of got us all on the internet and K-pop really figured out how to continue making concerts and making money and things, I think America's really paying attention now to how K-pop's figured out how to monetize. And I think they're seeing them as a real legitimate media giant, in a way that we've never looked at any other country. We like, technically, Bollywood and Nollywood make more movies than we do, like numbers wise, but they don't make the same kind of money that an Avengers movie would ever make. So to see, someone like BTS generating $1 billion for their home economy off of Dynamite, that's something America's kind of like forced to pay attention to, So I think that's kind of what's going on, and it's like either we compete or we help each other out. So I think,
I think it has to do a lot with the fans. I think that they're starting to recognize, like, also like same in the monetization, because fans do buy more physical albums and different merchandise to do with these artists than they do for regular Western artists. Mm-hmm. I do think like the presence of K-pop fans is kind of unavoidable on social media platforms now. Like, even on Instagram, you like one picture of one random K-pop person, and then your entire For You page is just Jungkook. So I just think that like the power of the fans and how truly popular this phenomenon is worldwide, not just big in the West, making them global because we have like a global stage, but making them popular everywhere, and like catering to their fans everywhere in any way they can, and making it very like seem like a very personal connection between the artists and the fans is what really drives the force of like the K-pop industry.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. They've figured out a problem that I think the West was dealing with for a long time with the influencer thing, like an Addison Rae kind of person, right? Addison Rae is kind of famous for being famous, you know what I mean? Like, she just kind of like exists as this entity, but she sells a lot of products because, you know, influencers tend to sell more things sponsorship wise because you have a more of a personal trust with them, as marketers have found. So what the idol kind of has done in the 21st century is really figure out how to combine the closeness and the intimacy of an influencer with the talent of and glamour of a traditional celebrity. So it makes it really lucrative for, you know, American marketers to look at that because, you know, the music industry has been making all of its money in the last 10 years off of touring. And as we've seen, touring could stop at any time and you could lose a ton of money. But K-pop kept afloat because of light sticks and because of brand deals and because of physical album sales, like we said. So I think it's definitely in American industry's full interest to see how to get fan participation and passion that K-pop fans have and kind of study that and figure it out.
Do you guys think it is possible for a Western or like American artist to emulate the same fan proximity that K-pop artists have? Because I guess that's like what's the key, like the secret sauce. Like, do you think now that we've learned that's possible for a Western artist to do? Because I don't know, you know?
I think Taylor Swift's the closest.
Yeah.
I think it is possible, but it is also different culturally because we're very individualistic and our artists themselves are very individualistic. They have they're very personal in a way that's separate from K-pop. Not like in personal in connecting with fans, but personal in terms of keeping their own privacy and having a separation between that life and their real life, which doesn't really exist in the K-pop industry. Like, because I think of how communal their culture is, the part of like how close you feel to the idols is because of that sense of community. Like, we feed off you, you feed off us. Or at least that's really what it is with BTS, what they push. Like, they're like, what's your inspiration for writing music? They're always like, ARMY, like our fans, they're always the inspiration. It's this back and forth that they create that makes it seem like a dependent relationship that really makes people feel like they're a part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And I don't really necessarily know that American artists will want to do that. Maybe to an extent, like you have the hotties, and the hotties are loyal and they ride for Meg, like we out here. But I just don't know that she would take, that a step further even, because I don't like having people in my business. I would never really want to be famous. And I know a lot of people feel like that. And it is a lot of pressure. Like, there's a lot of attention on you when you build an audience that way, because people care about almost everything you do because they feel like they have a right to care about the things you do in your life. And that also creates its own difficulties for those artists. So
what is Nicki's fans called again? They're kind of like that. Barbs are kind of like that with Nicki, and they ride for her.
That's true. Like, the pop girls have slowly been building fandoms like that. I think Arianators are pretty loyal. I would say Taylor Swift fans are the most loyal. And they're pretty much the main fandom in America that buys physical albums. And they'll just, and it's not like they're even getting like photo books or photo cards or anything with the albums. They're literally just buying stacks of like jewel case CDs and just having them just for album sales. I think that the competitiveness of K-pop, kind of almost like feeling like they're like a sports team almost that you root for, but the competition is the fandom rather than like, yeah, the artist goes and they do this song and they put it up on the music show, but also the fans have to vote and they have to collect these votes and they have to mobilize. And I think that it's a weird thing. It's like they're an athlete, an influencer, and a pop star all in one.
Yeah,
it's very fascinating.
I think I think it is the competitiveness that's like a big part of it, because otherwise it would just be like supporting any other artist. But it's like you have some, it's like the stakes are raised or something. Like you have something to, like, fight for.
Yeah.
At least from what. So it's interesting. I don't know if we can quite emulate that.
Especially because we don't even have we don't have music shows here anyways, and our music shows have never been like competitive like that.
Yeah.
And yet we still find that like artists within the same genres, like specifically female rappers, their internet fights are crazy. I would never get stuck in a fight between a Barb and a Hottie and a Kitten. That sounds like death. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That sounds like social Twitter suicide, and I would never ever
sounds crazy.
Ever do that.
Barb with Kitten.
That's a Barb for Nicki, Kittens for Doja, Hotties for Meg. I'm probably forgetting some other ones.
It's just them though. It's just the fans, because the artists are not. I mean, I guess technically one of them.
Cardi's fans are.
I feel like Doja kind of does a little bit something not necessarily inspired, but something similar in that, you know, she streams and she's kind of a social, like, she kind of feels like she's one of us because she came from the internet. So I feel like people have this kind of like rooting for her kind of fight with Doja. That's a personal connection. I think we could do, you know, do things similar, but it would be different than like having shows like Run BTS or Level Up Project or things like that, and more from like engaging people with social media, with like Twitch channels or YouTube channels or things like that. And Google and Twitch are both have initiatives now to get celebrities interested in making more YouTube videos and making more Twitch channels. And their algorithms favor that kind of content anyways. So I think that's kind of the way celebrity's going in general. But I think K-pop definitely was ahead of the curve.
For sure. Yeah, that's how they're going to do it, because it needs to be relatable. Because you know how America, if anything seems too fake or too industry plant or too anything, they're off of it. So it needs to be more about the artist delving into being like relatable. I'm one of you.
Yeah. And they still haven't quite figured out the YouTube thing yet, because it still seems a little like overproduced, because, you know, they've got a cameraman and an editor. They never like started from nothing and then rose to that, you know, like a lot of other YouTubers.
Sweetie's is good though.
You like her YouTube channel?
It's great.
I don't like The Rock or Will Smith's YouTube channel though. That sucks.
They're actors. It's different. I like Matthew McConaughey's. His well, it's so I've only been watching a bit, but
I like Jack Black's. That's the best one to me of the celebrities.
Who's like the girl that plays Captain Marvel? What's her name?
Brie Larson.
I saw her. Yeah, I like her channel. I saw it the other day. I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah. And then I found out that they're like paying celebrities, Google's paying celebrities like $5 million to start a YouTube channel.
Damn, that's a lot of money.
I'm like, damn, it's not even that they liked YouTube and wanted to get closer to their fans or anything. It's really just like, oh, you know, I like at least with K-pop, they're up front with the fact that they signed a contract and this is all publicity and this is a TV show, and you know what I mean?
I mean, but you get that like personal feeling from V Lives because they choose to go on there. And let me tell you, it'll be like 8 months in between a good Jungkook V Live. My man's really be going ghost and not caring.
Yeah, V Live and Instagram Live have been huge for K-pop stars. I like that though. Yeah. It's fun. It feels intimate.
The Instagram Lives are big. I don't really watch K-pop idols on Instagram Live. I usually watch like my Western artists when they go Instagram Live. Like whenever Meg's live, I'm like, well. But let me tell you, I get a shiny little notification. Taemin and Key, I'm out. Those are my men. I love a good shiny live. They're hilarious.
Yeah. I have my notifications on for when any member of Red Velvet goes live on Instagram. So.
Don't even be knowing what they saying. They be speaking straight Korean. And I'd be like, yup. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, you're laughing.
I watch Marks sometimes. Like,
yeah.
I don't follow many K-pop artists on Instagram, but like, yeah, the ones I do, they sometimes go live. Sometimes.
It's my whole Instagram now. I'm not even gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I log in and it's like a picture of Young Jae, and I'm like, oh my god, my 74th boyfriend posted. Amazing.
Exactly.